Hello everyone, welcome in to DME Prep Zone Wrap-Up presented by Bevill State Community College. James Phillips joined by Brett Elmore as always. Brett, we had this is kind of similar to last week. We had some blowout games, had some close games. We had some really good games though in a few parts of the area.
Yeah, and we had some teams that really needed a victory and they got one.
Right.
So a pretty good week, and we're at the midway point, man. I can't believe it.
Yeah, I can't believe it's been that long either, but we are. Jeez. We're right at the midway point, and we're kind of seeing what teams may be playoff bound and what teams may be staying home at the end of the year.
Yeah, this is where you get into the thick of things. Most teams will be out of the region this week, and then they're gearing up for that second half of region play, and it's about to get intense.
Definitely. So let's start with our Thursday night game we had. That was Ramsay at Cordova. Ramsay wins 33-20. Cordova hung in there for quite a while, but they had at least 4 turnovers. I know they had 4 interceptions. I'm not sure if they had any fumbles or not that night.
Yeah, I believe this was a 1-touchdown game going into the fourth quarter. I'm not sure about that. But, yeah, Hedrick, the quarterback, 21 of 49 passing, 295 yards, 2 touchdowns. But you did mention the 4 picks. Caden Airmore, 9 catches, 115 yards and a touchdown. Closer than last year. Cordova's getting there, but they just can't get over that hump right there in region play.
Right, but that's a good Ramsay team. They were second in the region last year and look to be that this year too.
Very good, and Cordova this week will have a week off, so they can rest up a little bit and get ready for that, like we mentioned, that second half of region play.
Your story starts at Bevill State Community College. Whether you are just starting out or starting over, Bevill State has an opportunity that is right for you. With 5 locations serving 7 counties, you don't have to go far to start your own success story. Plus, with tuition lower than 4-year colleges, you won't need to spend more for a great education. Visit us online at bscc.edu to learn about your options for seamless academic transfer and high-demand career tech and health science offerings. Let us help you tell your story.
All right, now here's a team that did need a win after a loss last week. Summerton Christian 48-0 over Woodville. Woodville, I really thought their mascot would be a beaver, but it's not.
A beaver?
Yeah, I thought it would be, wood, beaver.
Or woodchuck?
Or woodchuck. That would be good too, the Woodville Woodchucks, but it's not. It's like a tiger.
Oh, that's lame.
Yeah. It could be a lot better, but 48-0, that was just ugly.
Talk about Summit Christian's defense. They held Woodville to 47 total yards in the contest.
Wow, 47 total yards? That is wild.
And Tyler Engel, 7 carries, 94 yards as touchdowns. Jordan Robertson, 4 of 8 passing, 90 yards and a couple of touchdowns. But yeah, that defense, holding them only 47 yards. Summit Christian back on track.
Well, and their defense has played well every week. It was the game of the week last week was them and Cedar Bluff. And the defense played well that night. It was just the offense couldn't get things rolling. But they look like they've got things rolling again. Yeah,
they sputtered a bit. And I believe it's homecoming week there. Brindley Mountain's going to come into town. And Brindley Mountain's another one of those teams struggled all season. They haven't won a ball game. So,
right, and they get beat worse than 40-0.
Right, it could be. It could be a long night for Brindley Mountain.
It could. All right, now Meek traveled to Hubbardsville. Hubbardsville picks up a big win there, 44-14. We've talked about how improved Meek is, but Hubbardsville really just had their number this week.
Rat poison. We talk about Meek and how they are doing really well, and then lose by 30 to Hubbardsville. That one hurt, and I don't get it.
I don't either. I really thought that would be a close game. I did pick Hubbardsville to win, but I thought it would be within a touchdown.
Meek, another one of those teams, going to be off this week. So a good off week for Meek to kind of get themselves back in order.
Now, another Winston County school that needs a win is Lynn, but they didn't get one this week. Pickens County 28-7 over Lynn. That's a tough loss for the Bears.
Yeah, but a lot closer than I thought it would be.
Right.
Pickens, undefeated, I believe.
They are.
And always good. Yeah, and Lynn is another one of those teams I think will get a win this week. They travel to Vina, but Vina has not won a game either.
Right, and Vina's a team that usually you can get healthy with.
Right, yeah. So I'm pulling for the Bears.
Prep Zone Wrap-Up is presented by Bevill State Community College and Kilgore Green Funeral Home.
All right, Dora, they travel to Oneonta in a game that we think could be kind of a region championship type game. Oneonta wins 24-9. Dora's offense just could never get rolling in this one. They were down 14-3 at the half and only got 6 more points, 24-9. That's a tough loss, but it's a tough road game.
Yeah, and Oneonta, I believe, is the 3rd winningest program in state history. They have a lot of tradition there. It's a tough place to play. The sophomore quarterback, Hoagland, goes in 13 of 20 passing for 120 yards. Just couldn't pick up the win, but hey, like I say, tough place to play this week. A game of the week for you guys. It's what do they call it, the County Line Clash?
Yep, they call it the County Line Clash between Dora and Corner, and that'll be an interesting game. And
sure will.
Both teams needing a win. We mentioned Corner; they lose 51-15 to Alexandria.
Alexandria, the Valley Cubs, another one of those traditional powerhouses, and
that's another one of those teams that's got to be in the top 10 as far as wins go.
Got to be.
All right, now this was probably the best game of the week. Carbon Hill 30, Holly Pond 24, went to overtime. Carbon Hill really needed that win, and their kids fought back. They were down early. They were down 18-0 at halftime.
Yeah, they were. This was impressive. The way they came back, like you mentioned, down 18-0. The way they came back on the road. Devin Daniel, 31 carries, 236 yards, a couple of touchdowns, a couple of catches for 15 yards, 251 all-purpose yards. But yeah, the way they came back on the road, that's big for them. And they wanted that game last week back now because
they do.
That was a heartbreaker. But Carbon Hill's another one of those teams. They're getting better.
They are getting better, and Devin Daniel, he is a running back that will just run over people. He's not the scat back type.
No, and Carbon Hill's another one of those teams with an off week. We have several teams this week with an off week. So a good week, I think, for Carbon Hill to be off.
I think so,
They
too.
have a tough stretch coming up.
Now, here was a big surprise to me, but Winston County beats Addison 14-8, and the Yellow Jackets, they won on quite the theatrics at the end.
Yeah, since Jasper was off, we aired that game on WJLX, Addison and Winston County. We've been talking about Winston County needing to find their identity. They've had some problems, some issues, I think, with COVID, but they controlled the game, it seemed like. This was one of those old-fashioned run the football, play defense, ball control, and 1.2 left on the clock, and Morgan strikes for the touchdown. Riker Morgan, 211 all-purpose yards, 31 carries, 156 yards, a rushing touchdown, and then he passed for only 55 yards, but that one touchdown at the very end of the ball game to win it over Addison. That was huge. First win for Winston County over Addison in 6 seasons.
Right, since 2015.
Yeah.
And that was a brother-to-brother pass.
Yeah, Morgan to Morgan.
Right. What a play. I talked to Coach Mitchell, and he said that the Morgan brothers had came up to him earlier in the game and said, "Listen, Coach, this is open." Mm-hmm. And he said he kind of kept it in his pocket until right there at the end. He said, "Everybody thinks we're playing for overtime. Let's go for it."
Yeah, we thought he was probably playing for overtime. They had timeouts. They were letting the clock run, and then at the very end, he throws that pass. You might listen to the Morgan brothers a little bit.
I think he might too, and he did say that it was great play idea by them, and it's something that they practice on. They do not, as we said, that was a running game. Yeah. They do not throw the ball very often, either team. Yeah. And Mitchell also said that he felt like they played more like Addison. They held the ball, they ran the ball, they kept the ball away from Addison.
Yeah. And a team that needed a win, Winston County. They really needed this.
Right.
And moving forward, Winston County, they've got Curry this week at home. They have an opportunity to get 2 big wins in a row, and that would really help them.
They definitely do. You mentioned Jasper a few minutes ago that they did not play. They lost a forfeit due to some COVID issues to Gadendale.
Yeah, and very unfortunate, and they will have homecoming this week against Demopolis. I do want to take a moment to say our thoughts and prayers with Coach Bailey as he lost his mother earlier a couple days ago. So our
Right.
thoughts and prayers with Coach Bailey and his family. But very unfortunate to have it to forfeit the game against Gardendale. But homecoming week, it'll be a festive attitude around town. And Demopolis coming into town, not a bad football team. They're 3-2.
They are 3-2. Last year, I believe they were undefeated when Jasper played.
Right, yeah, and probably should have beaten them.
Should have.
Yeah.
Without injuries, Jasper would have
Yeah.
won that game.
Yeah, they would have won that game.
All right, our game of the week that was on 88.5 FM, and our PrepZone game of the week was JV Pennington traveling to Oakman, and it was a good game as well. Oakman ends up with a 27-13 win, but a really closer game than that.
Yeah, Oakman, they had the mat on from last week in Winfield. They had been preparing all week with that attitude, and it worked out for them. JV Pennington coming in previously undefeated. Caden Marchbanks, 176 yards rushing and a touchdown. Bubba Odom threw for 151 yards and 3 touchdowns. This is a big win for them. This puts them right back in the thick of things.
It does. It puts them right in the second place in the region, probably.
Right, yeah.
So hosting a home playoff game.
Right.
If they can just kind of continue the ways they're going. Now they've got an off week this week.
They do.
And then they'll have their next biggest game. You know, coaches say every game's our next biggest game, but they're going to be playing Susan Moore, who's another one of those teams are usually
Top
in
tier.
the top of the region.
Yeah, top tier team. But great game, great win for Oakman.
It was a good game, and they were tied at the end of the third quarter. They were tied 13-all.
Yeah.
And then Oakman scores 2 late, and both of those were 2 long touchdown passes, 40-yard touchdown passes. So it was a very fun game. Coach Hall was super excited after the game.
Oh, yeah.
They needed that win, and it really proved to his kids that you can bounce back.
Absolutely, and they did.
Well, Brett, anything else this week?
Nope, just looking forward to another Friday night of football. And, of course, like you mentioned, you'll have Dora and Corner on Country Legends 88.5. We'll have Jasper Demopolis on Oldies 101.5, and we look forward to seeing you then.
That's right. Be sure to listen in. If you can't make it to a game, if you can make it to a game, go to the games and support these young athletes. They work hard.
Yeah,
the coaches work hard, cheerleaders, band. Go there, be in the middle of the atmosphere. That's really the best place to be. But if you can't, listen to us on 88.5 or listen to Brett's team on 101.5. We'll see you next week.